Now then, the world of emojis, it's a baffling one, isn't it? It was once fine to use an aubergine emoji during an innocent chat about your new allotment patch, but now it could land you in very hot water. What looks like a harmless text symbol to you could mean something else entirely to the person receiving it. And now lawyers are calling for senior judges to learn the hidden meanings behind the small digital images as they're increasingly appearing in British court hearings. I'm joined by Natasha Phillips. She's a barrister and editor-in-chief of the Encyclopedia on Family and the Law, and she joins me this afternoon. We've had a little bit of, giggling and sniggering in the newsroom at some of these emojis. In fact, I've learnt a little bit myself, I must say, and I actually am quite an avid user of an emoji. But there's a serious point to all of this, isn't there? That, judges whose average age, let's face it, is usually not a millennial, anyway, put it that way, are having to confront these on a sort of daily basis in the courts.
Yes, well, we're seeing a rise in the use of emojis in two contexts mainly. One in terms of evidence, which we're seeing specifically within criminal cases, and another, which is slightly different in its context, is within family law judgments, where judges are actively thinking about and using emojis in order to make their judgments more child-friendly.
And has this initiative been sort of brought forward by judges themselves? Have they sort of come out of courtrooms bewildered and having to ask for advice? Or is this more sort of from the barrister side, that is sort of frustration that their clients aren't being understood? What's brought this about?
I think within criminal cases, it's pressure coming from, I think, barristers and other sections of the legal profession, where they'd like to see judges have a more nuanced understanding of these symbols, because they're obviously incredibly important to interpreting pieces of evidence. But in terms of family law judgments, that's really been an independent call from various judges who themselves have taken up the mantle to try and improve judgments so that they're more accessible and easier for children to understand.
What's so difficult, though, about emojis is how, in a court of law, you would prove what it meant, because arguably it's a symbol, isn't it? But it can mean different things for different people. There's no universal emoji language. I mean, the aubergine is fairly well known now, isn't it? But I mean, other ones, you couldn't necessarily definitively argue, could you?
That's absolutely correct. So one of the things that I think judges will need to look at in the near future, is how they interpret those things within specific contexts. Emojis change their meaning depending on which communities are using them, which demographics are using them. But a little bit like characters in the English language, you can work out nuance if you look at the context of something. So I think they will need to adapt to that and try and find their way around the symbols.
I mean, it's great that we're talking about it. The courts are historically very, very slow to adapt and change and moderate. Do you think that they will be able to absorb the language of emojis at some point in the future?
I think they're going to have to, one way or another. It may be a very slow process, but over time these symbols may very well become commonplace. We're already seeing a spike in usage in America, for example, in legal cases. So that's something that I think our judges should really be alive to.
And have you ever seen a case where a conviction is actually dependent on the definition or the interpretation of an emoji?
As far as I'm aware, there hasn't been a case like that to date, but it may very well be something that happens in the future.
OK, well, really good to talk to you, Natasha Phillips, barrister and editor-in-chief of the Encyclopedia on Family and the Law. Thanks very much.
Thank you.